Rev up your engines!
There we go, the Honda Odyssey minivans yet again are being recalled. If you recall what I say about them, don't buy one. They've had nothing but problems, engine problems, transmission problems, especially with the automatic transmissions. Well, the 2018 to 2020 Honda Odysseys are being recalled. 241,000 of them. So a lot of people out there with them. They have a wiring problem in them that can cause a fire. Bad enough that the transmissions broke all the time in them. I had a whole bunch of customers have to get new ones on those things. But now they got wiring problems, and they say that, well, if it's rubbing, they'll move it out of the way and tape it over, and if it's been damaged, they'll repair it. And I mean, even that sounds like a half-baked effort to fix the thing. Turns out that wiring going to a third-row power outlet may have been put in incorrectly when they built the things in the first place. And then it chafes and shorts out. Now, owners aren't going to be told until mid-March. This is February right now. But isn't that great? You know, they know there's a problem. They're going to have a recall, but they're not going to notify anybody until March. If I thought there was a fire hazard somewhere, I'd warn people right away. I wouldn't wait time to tell them. All these companies, they fight those recalls because they don't want to have to fix anything for free and admit that they made problems. It's just ridiculous. I mean, if they know there's a problem, they should be immediately recalled and not be months from now when they decide they're going to tell you that there's a problem. You heard it from Scotty. If you own one of those, you might check the power outlet wiring, see if it's rubbing on something, see if it's starting to short out. And if your power outlet doesn't work, take it to Honda and demand they fix it right now and not wait a month. Timothy says, Scotty, I'm curious about courtesy when it comes to buying your own car parts. Buy my own parts, is it frowned to bring it to a mechanic and have him do the labor? It's better let him do the whole job. It's definitely frowned upon by almost all mechanics for various reasons. One, part of the way mechanics make money is by making a little bit of profit on the parts. You're taking that off, you're going to make them mad. Of course, a lot of guys will just do it if they're slow on business. They'll accept your parts, but they'll just charge you more labor, so you're going to pay the same anyways. But the main reason is, guys like me frown upon it, is because, one, you're assuming you diagnosed your car correctly, that you know what's wrong, and you brought the correct parts. And two, did you bring the correct parts? I have had customers in the past that were regular customers, and they'd bring me parts that they bought online. Guess what? They didn't fit, or they were just completely wrong and they had to be sent back. So, if I got their car taken apart, they bought it online, what am I going to let it sit there in my driveway for a few days while I wait for he returns it and get it back? No, that's one of the big reasons mechanics frown upon it. You might not diagnose it right, and you might not get the right part either, or, even worse, you might have bought the cheapest part you could buy because you want to save money, right? Well, that cheap part might be junky. What if it doesn't work, even though it fits on, say an electronic part? Then the mechanic's sitting there thinking, did he diagnose it wrong? Is this part good? Is it bad? Having bad parts is a repairman's nightmare. So you're best to let the mechanic handle that, because then if he gets the wrong part, it's his problem, not yours. Oh, it's a Saturday afternoon. Scotty, I got a question. I'm thinking about a used Dodge Challenger with a V6. I like the look of the car, and I'm not driving like a psycho, but I'm worried the previous owner would beat it. I'm not a Chrysler fan by any stretch of the imagination, but people like the way those Challengers look. You are looking at a V6. The real psychos that buy Challengers, they all get the V8s. They never would be seen dead with the V6. So, if you find one, and it seems all right, take it to a mechanic like me, have him check it out. And if he says it's a decent car, it could be good. Don't pay that much. The Challengers with the V6 have very low resale value because everybody wants the V8s. But there is a less chance of it having the heck beat out of it with the V6 versus the V8. First car says, Scotty, I'm thinking what's the best alternative to a Toyota Tacoma? I want to spend 6 to 8, and I can't find a good Tacoma in this price range yet. They're very hard to find because people like them, and if they do sell them, they know they're worth a lot of money, and they get a lot. So in that case, I'd say look at Ford Rangers and Nissan Frontiers. I know people can say, oh, Scotty, you don't like Nissans. No, I don't like Nissans, but the Frontiers are probably the best thing that they make. I got customers with them, and they're still decent little pickup trucks for driving around in. And there's tons of Ford Rangers out there. Look out there. And, I mean, you never know. You know, if you see an F-150, it's a bigger truck, but I had a customer get a great deal from an older man who can't drive anymore, had 60,000 miles on it. He got a good deal on it. It looked like a brand new truck, so you never know what you're going to find when you start looking. Hi, 113 says, do you think it'd be fine to take my 97 Saturn SL1 on a road trip? Car's 191,000 miles. The road trip's 260 miles round trip. I changed the oil recently. Do you feel lucky? like Clint Eastwood says in the movie, highway mileage, I'm assuming it's highway mileage, is equivalent to 10% city. So if you go 260 miles on the highway, it's like going 26 miles stop and go in a city, which you wouldn't think twice about, right? It's an old car. I mean, what is it, 23 years old? Now, maybe the engine will blow up and it's finally worn out. Well, if it does, you can always just abandon it and take a bus back if you want. But, I mean, like I say, 260 miles on a highway is like 26 miles of stop and go traffic. It doesn't really hurt things. If it runs good otherwise, why not? You know, thing isn't worth much, and I'm sure if you bought it used, you didn't pay much for it, so who knows? It could go quite some time. Sensible to use a car like that as a knock-around work car and don't make a point of taking trips with it. Something's going to break and you might be stranded in the middle of nowhere. Freddie and Ann says, hey, Scotty, I'm thinking of purchasing a 2009 Volkswagen Jetta with a standard tranny. I know you're not a fan of the brand, but it's a good idea to potentially buy. Now, the standard transmissions, yes, they're more dependable, but that's an 11-year-old Volkswagen Jetta. Volkswagens are money pits as they age. All the plastic crap on them breaks. As they get old, cracks, engine parts are plastic. The door handles are plastic. I have a single customer in the last 2 decades that bought a Volkswagen and never bought another one. They were horrible cars in the end. Fun to drive, zippy and all that, get good gas mileage, but they're endless money pits as they age. If you like gambling, it's a 2009. You didn't say what the price was. If it's really cheap, it is a standard. Hey, maybe you can get a few years out of it. Who knows? But don't put any serious money into that thing because they're endless money pits. All the Volkswagen products. Ninja Slayer says, Scotty, I got an '07 Honda Odyssey EX, 125,000 miles. When I shipped into any gear, it makes a loud noise. Should I do anything or leave it alone? All right, here's what you should do. You should contact Honda. I had many of my own personal customers with those Odysseys get free transmissions because their automatic transmissions were garbage. They made it wrong. They had all kinds of problems. Pray they'll fix your transmission. If they don't, I'd get rid of that thing as fast as I could because when they make that loud noise, eventually it's going to need a new transmission. And if you got to pay for it, it's many, many, many thousands. But Honda had so many problems. If you whine and gripe and look up the recalls and look up the technical service bulletins, you might be able to talk them into giving you a new transmission on that thing because they've had so many problems with the automatics on that. Give that a try. But if they won't, get rid of it fast or you're going to spend thousands and thousands on a rebuilt transmission. And they're crappy transmissions in those. You rebuild it, you got 125,000 out of this one. You won't even get that out of the rebuild. It's just yours fixed. It'll never last as long. Mars Matrix says, hello, I got a 2017 Buick LaCrosse 4-door sedan. Front wheel drive for $18,900. One owner, 29,000 miles. It's clean. Should I buy it? No, run away from it at that price. They're not making them anymore. It's a discontinued model. It's a 3-year-old American car. $18,900 is absolutely ridiculous. They're not made all that well. As I said, they're not even making them anymore. The thing has hardly any residual value. Realize, once a car manufacturer isn't making cars anymore, and Buick, the only thing they're doing is SUVs. They're not making cars anymore. The value of those cars goes down the toilet. If you could get it really cheap, like $5-6 grand, go ahead and take a chance. But that kind of price, run away. They're out of their minds trying to get that kind of money for a vehicle that they don't even make anymore. JD Vegas 95 says, Scotty, I got a 2015 Audi A3. The AC smells like chemicals when I first turn it on in the car. It goes away after a minute. I thought it might be a coolant, but I don't see any coolant leaking out. Well, you can get seepage. You can get all kinds of things. What you want to do is figure out what the smell is. Now, we mechanics have sniffing machines that can smell stuff. I would stick my refrigerant identifier in there, turn it on. If it started beeping, it means it's the AC is losing refrigerant gas. And that can leak at such a slow level, the AC might work for quite some time, but you're going to smell it. Now, if it is cooling, eventually, of course, it's going to start dripping somewhere. Now, if it's a slow drip, and it takes a long time, what you do is you have somebody put ultraviolet leak dye into the cooling system. Then, if it is leaking in the dash, there's a drain hose for the AC. Anything that gets in there will drain out of there. You look down there with one of these UV lights and yellow sunglasses. If you see it's glowing in there, you'll know that, yes, the heater core is leaking. And it's just starting to seep, so it's not pouring out. But you'll see it, you'll know you need a new heater core. Anthony Bassa says, Scotty, I got a 2001 Toyota 4Runner. The car runs excellent. I was rear-ended and the tailgate was smashed. 215,000 miles. Think it's worth to be repaired? It depends. And what it mainly depends on is how bad the damage was. If the frame and stuff isn't damaged, it's the tailgate, hey, there's plenty of junkyards you can get used parts from. I'm assuming you don't have collision. I mean, probably if you had collision, it's that old 19 years old. They probably totaled the thing. Look around. You can find used stuff. Go ahead and put them on. But if the frame's bent and axles start howling and stuff and that needs replacing, then you'd say it's time to get rid of it because it's 19 years old. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.